Let me check my situation here. Make sure all systems are go. Can y'all see me okay? Can you hear me okay? Peace and love, peace and love. How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? What's good, Asia? What's good, Florence? Peacemaking, how you doing? Hey, Carla. Let me scroll back up to the top. Janine, Peace Queen. Yes, I will send the link for yesterday. I think because because we did a live Q&A, it kind of, in my mind, I automatically thought, well, it wasn't a class, I don't need to send it. But then I was like, no, I need to send that because you guys ask great questions. And I know that the Q&A is usually the best interaction. Even when I do lives, people like the Q&A session. So yes, I will send out that recording today. And I will also send out this recording today as well. And let's see who else we got in the building. Tierra was good. JB, Peace was good. Montoya. Let's see who this is. Carla said peace to you already. Elnora. Some of you guys' names don't come all the way across. It like cuts it off for some reason. So I see you guys. Peace and love, everybody. Thank you guys. Maya was good. Natasha was good. Oh yeah, I think I got your email too. Peace and love. And hopefully if you signed up late and you haven't been getting the archives, shoot me an email, let me know, and I will resend everything to you. The way it works is right now we have 250 people that are signed up. But yesterday we had 218. The day before we had, 170. So it's like, if you sign up after the process, you're only getting emails based on the day that you actually signed up. So if you signed up, a little bit later in the week, just shoot me an email and say, hey, I signed up on, Friday or whatever. And I will go ahead and send you the archive links from the other classes, as well as I sent out one additional worksheet that's not included in the workbook, as well as a video clip that some of the attendees had requested for me. So if you missed anything, if you haven't gotten all of the links from, we did Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and today is fourth class, shoot me an email, info@zazali.com, and I will get that out to you guys to make sure that you are all caught up. If you have questions today, click the Q&A link and add the questions there so that I can have separate questions separated from the dialogue, so that once I finish with my presentation today, I'll be able to just easily access the Q&A without, sometimes the chat room, because it moves kind of quick, it kind of throws me off, or I have to kind of, screen through them to find the questions in the middle of the conversation. So click the Q&A button, and I see we already have a question in there so far. And if you guys still had questions from yesterday that didn't get answered, go ahead and drop your questions in there. And then that way, when we get to the Q&A section, I'll hit you up. I'll respond to you guys. Let's see. Today's the last day for the sale price for the workbook, which is right now $16.95. And after today, it's going back up to $21.95. So if you haven't purchased it yet, today would be the day to purchase it while you can still get the sale price. And a couple of people have, who was it? Somebody sent me, Marcel, I think, and I hope I'm saying your name right, sent me, was it her? Yeah, I think it was her. Wasn't it you that sent me? She printed out her whole book and put it in a binder, and it actually looks really dope, I must admit. And it's color. So if that was you or whoever, am I saying it right? Okay, good. Yeah, she printed it all out and she put it in a nice white binder, and it looks really nice and professional. So thank you for showing that to me, sis. But hopefully you guys, if you have the ebook version, you're printing out the worksheets, you're working through them, or you can always, of course, just download the the actual workbook, and then just type directly on the forms. So, you know, you can print it or you can type directly on it for it to be more interactive. But either way, make sure you guys are working through these worksheets, because what we talk about during the classes is one thing, and then you have a minute to process and let it settle. And then, you know, later on in the evening or this weekend, you know, you guys have time, you'll be able to kind of sit with yourself and process the information in order to retain it, and then in order to make it applicable to your personal life. So again, I'll send out the Q&A session from yesterday, and then you guys will also get the recording from today. And I might, depending on how the class goes and how, you know, what kind of questions you guys have, I have worksheets that I, you know, use with my personal clients. So I want to kind of get you guys is feel your temperature, assess where you guys are, and then I might send you something separate outside of the workbook today, including some video content that will help you guys to kind of, you know, have some stuff to do this weekend, reiterate the information, and also help with, you know, whatever the particular subjects are that we're talking about. So I created a couple of polls that I am, oh, Asia says she's fasting all weekend. That's what I'm talking about. Jay asked, do I do Cash App? And I most certainly do, and I will put that here just so you guys can have, that's my Cash App name. And I will get to, yes, I got a question. If we bought the physical version, could we get an ebook version emailed? Yes, you can. And actually, that's an option for anybody that has already purchased the physical copy. Go ahead and shoot me an email at info@zazaali.com, and just give me the email address that you have, you know, that you purchased your order under, and I will send you the information in order to get the ebook copy at no charge. That's no problem. And let me give you my PayPal. Who asked for Say Hawkins? All right, admin@zazaali.com is my PayPal copy, my PayPal email, and then my Cash App information is there. If you bought the ebook version, how much is the physical copy? Same price. It's the regular price that it is on my website right now. And I gave, you know, offered the sale price for you guys so that, you know, it would be a you know, a benefit to everybody that's joining the class right now, but you can get the physical copy online as well. And it's a beautiful, sexy book, if I might say so myself. But anyway, I created a couple of polls for you guys. So I want to touch bases, check everybody's pulse, and see where you guys are doing. How you guys are doing. So the first question is, are you caught up on all of the assignments for the week? Yes or no? This is the $64 million question. Are you caught up on all assignments for the week? All right, let's see. So far, 45% yes, 57% no. And just while that poll is kind of launching, just so you guys know, our assignments for the week have been so far the self-rating chart. Basically, we're up to page 25 in the workbook. So if you have not had a chance to do all of the worksheets so far, we're up to page 25 right now. And that might sound like a lot, but this is all like, you're not like reading a textbook or like answering questions about science. You know what I'm saying? This whole workbook is about you. So self-rating chart, which is the first section, and understanding emotion and the magnetic factor. Water starts to mold, which is stand still, which we're going to talk about today, as well as make peace with yourself. Some of it's reading, some of it's Q&A. There's a few questions that are for notes. So it's not all the way 25 pages. It's really like 20 pages. But this weekend, you guys have some downtime. Make sure you take time to focus on the worksheet so that you can really get the full effect of what we are striving to accomplish today. All right. So 34% said yes and 66% said no. So I'm going to do this poll again on Monday, and we really want to kind of reel in those questions. Actually, I'm wondering if I should even give you guys any assignments for this week, because that's a pretty high number of people that haven't gotten a chance to catch up yet. Let me think about that. But take this weekend, if you guys get a chance, like take a few hours to sit with this and work through the worksheets, please. All right, so let's see, next poll. Please do keep us busy. If I give you guys assignments, you got to do the assignments now. We had 66% that haven't been caught up yet. And granted, I know we have families and we have, some of us are still working. We have a couple of people that are watching us as they work. We have several people that are, out of the country. I think we have about 5 people that are watching us globally. And then we also have people that are watching the videos, the archives. Like I said, we have 270 people signed up at this time. So a lot of people are not watching live. They're watching the archives. So I get it, we have lives and stuff going on. But if you've watched more than 2 of our classes, then that means that you are invested in this process. And I definitely hope you guys will be able to, work through the worksheets. All right, next poll. Do you have materials at home? And this is for next week. This isn't a right now thing. Do you have materials at home, or can you access or purchase materials to create a vision board after we complete our classes next week? So this will be, and obviously the guidelines, so to speak, and the blueprint is included in the workbook as far as the vision board process. But there is a list of materials that we'll go over next week, as well as, having the internet, having access to a printer, having magazines, and things like that. But once we get to the prosperity consciousness section of the workbook, then we'll start to fine tune exactly what it is you want to manifest, what you aspire to become, and things that you want to bring into your reality. And the vision board is, the physical representation of us kind of keeping ourselves on track on a day-to-day basis of the things that we want to bring into our reality and the things that we aspire to become. So remember, this is never just about physical manifestations. Going back to what we talked about when it came to frequencies and your energetic resonance, your signature, so to speak. If you really aspire to become, this person and attract these things in your life, then the goal is to work on the energy, work on the frequency in order to attract the things that you want to become and you aspire to be. So far, 82% have said yes, 6% have said no, and 12% have said maybe. Okay, so just keep that in your mind, and you don't even have to have everything. Obviously, we're all dealing with this situation right now. I know Amazon is still shipping, if that's an option for anybody who wants to take that. But even if you just start the process of, let's say, on the day when we do the prosperity consciousness class, and then you, for instance, say, okay, here's what I want to take a trip to Egypt. I want to buy a new car. I want my monthly income to increase to $4,000 per month, and I also want to attract peace of mind or obtain peace of mind. If you have a list of, there's going to be a list of like 4 physical things and then maybe like 2, non-tangible things. So you can start to collect the pictures, save the images from your computer if you don't have a color printer. And I recommend color pictures for everything. Don't do black and white, because the color is what gives it the invigoration and the aliveness. I'll share my vision boards with you guys next week too. I have 2 of them because I have big goals, big plans, big life. And I also printed my pictures very big so they will be vivid. But yeah, no black and white pictures, use color images. If you have markers or paint, in order to, again, bring it to life and make it vivid, we definitely want to do that. But I'm just bringing this up now because once we get to Thursday and Friday of next week, this is what is going to be our focus, what I want to leave you guys with in order to, help you to bring that fruition, those things into fruition, into your reality. That's what the workbook and everything I do really is all about. Change your mind from lack to abundance. Once you get in an abundance state of mind, energy, and frequency, then it's all about all thoughts, not all thoughts, but most thoughts, energy, consciousness, frequency, vibration, way of being is all about an abundance state of consciousness, an abundant way of life. So final numbers, 62% said, 82% said yes, 5% said no, and then 13% said maybe. Cool. Next question. What has been the biggest benefit for you in taking these classes so far? First option, the classes are helping me to settle my fears during this global pandemic. Second question, the classes are giving me inspiration to do the things I've been procrastinating on doing. Third question, the classes are helping me feel connected to a group of like minds, or the classes are teaching me things about myself I did not know, or the classes are not helping me at all. If you say the classes aren't helping you at all, we're going to have a digital boxing match. we're going to fight. No, I'm just kidding. But if that's the case, then let me know. Then I'll need to go back to the drawing board and reshape my narrative, because I am definitely, focused on giving you guys the best of my mind and my energy in order to help you guys grow and expand. Can you do a digital vision board, or should it be physical? You can, I could be a female boxer, yes. I had a few, well, I'm not gonna go there. Yes, you can do a digital vision board, absolutely, for sure. You can also do a binder type vision board where you print the pictures out and have it, where you can kind of thumb through the pages and whatnot. I have mine a physical vision board with I use a foam poster board where it stands up on its own. They sell those online too, because I move my vision boards around the house. So when I do my writing every day, my writing out my manifestation goals, I have my vision board in the living room where I sit and do my thing every day. And then I have a futon in my bedroom, and I also sit it there so that, sometimes when I do my meditations, I kind of look over it. So I can move my vision board around because it stands up on its own, because I use a foam poster board. But digital vision board is perfectly fine. I work with my clients, and we use a site called Trello.com, and it's a digital vision board integration. That's what I call it, where we kind of set up, our projects, our, experiments that we do, and also, start to bring to life what we want to, what I want to help them with, and what they actually want to manifest in their life. Yes, Ali. Hey, I grew up in East Oakland, California. And that's all I'm going to say. All right. So I said East Oakland because people who are from Cali, they understand. All right, so far 15% said it's helping to ease their fears during this global pandemic. 78% said the classes are giving me inspiration to do the things I've been procrastinating on. Nice. The class, let's see, 56% said the classes are helping me feel connected to a group of like minds. Beautiful. And then 43% said the classes are teaching me things about myself that I did not know. Nice. All of that works for me. All of that makes me feel really good. And I didn't put this in as a poll, but I'm curious to know how many of you guys have an active daily physical regimen. Whether you are walking outside, whether you are doing, yoga or, some type of at-home training. How many of you guys are, like actively, physically, challenging yourself every day to, be physically fit? Walking, yes. Yoga, nice. Okay. And it's starting to get warm. I'm right outside of Atlanta right now. So, you know, it's going to be 84 degrees out here. I'm definitely going to be going outside and getting some sunshine. I love warm weather, so this is right up my alley. And, you know, my goal is to do yoga or something physical every day. But if I don't, the least I do is take a walk around my neighborhood. Okay. Stretching, yeah, is definitely recommended if you don't do anything else. All right, cool. Last question for my beautiful people. What is the biggest obstacle that you face when it comes to becoming the man or woman that you aspire to be? Fear, money, not enough time, lack of support, self-doubt, worry, I'm not sure, or nothing is holding me back. Inquiring minds want to know. Put some meditation music on. And hopefully you guys have got a chance to listen to the subconscious mind meditation. I did put it up, so you guys have access to that. That's one of the tools that, you know, I want to make sure that you guys can use in order to not only help us to navigate what's happening right now, but also to, you know, really start to internally reprogram our subconscious mind. We're not really going to talk about that in, you know, these classes, but I did talk about that in the Science of Self workbook, what the subconscious mind versus conscious mind is, and using the meditation in order to, you know, take this process a step forward, a step further. All right, let's see what we got here. 21% of people said fear, 39% said money, 13% said not enough time, 18% said lack of support. My son and his friend are in the other room. Let me send him a text message. Okay. 12% said I'm not sure, and then 5% said nothing is holding me back. All right, cool. Thank you guys for sharing that, and mostly everybody voted. So let's see, the largest, let's see, self-fear, self-doubt and worry, and then money are the biggest responses. And then right behind that is fear. All right, cool. I got y'all. I got you. I got you. And I see the questions are starting to rack up in the Q&A. Remember, everybody, if you're just coming in, we are going to put your questions in the Q&A so that when I get to the Q&A section, I'll be able to address them directly. And then, you know, so I don't have to follow the train of thought in the chat room. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Let me see. Move my screen around so I can get this on and pop it for you beautiful people. All right. Let's see, I'm already at 12:59 on time. So, and I want to make sure we have at least 20 minutes for the Q&A. So I'm going to move kind of fast, but remember, if you have any questions or if you need me to clarify anything, just drop it in the chat room and I'll get to it. All right. Water starts to mold when it stands still, and make peace with yourself is going to be our subject matter today. And let me move myself here. And it is Friday, March 27, 2020. So I know most of you guys haven't gotten to this section of the workbook yet, which is cool because, we can talk about it today to give it some context. And then when you guys get a chance to work on it, we'll lay a base, so to speak. Every aspect of the human being, mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical self requires change, growth, and challenge to keep from being stuck, therefore stagnated, therefore limited, and therefore out of alignment with the Creator in our divine purpose. Now, when we looked at the statistics from the poll that we just did, self-doubt, fear were two of the biggest responses, along with money, obviously. And money is a derivative of self-doubt and fear, because our financial status, our status of abundance, what we attract and repel in our life, is a residual of how we feel about ourselves and what we expect of to come into our lives. Let me just make sure I have the chat room up just in case I need to just in case. All right, cool. So if water sits in one place too long, it starts to mold. And that is just regular water, right? That could be sitting in a mop bucket or in a bowl. If you sit water in one space for too long, it will mold. And of course, our bodies are made up of water. Everything that we know to be of existence is a reflection or is connected to water in one way or another. And this is important because, if we are not moving forward, there's been times in my life where I can look back a 1 or 2 year period, and I can't really calculate or measure progress. Like I can remember, I was in school, or I was dating this guy, or certain experiences that happened during that time I can remember. But then if I look at a piece of paper and I say, well, here's how I advanced, here's how I progressed, there's nothing really to show for it. Yeah, I worked a job for 2 years. I paid my rent, I paid my bills, or I was going to, maybe I was, well, I won't say college because college doesn't count. That's a measurable, quantifiable, progress. But there's been gaps in time where I can look back and I really can't measure any verifiable progress. So a lot of us feel stuck. A lot of us are lost, or, dealing with fear and self-doubt, and it's being matriculated or advanced, so to speak, by the fact that we are not moving forward, we are not progressing, right? So this page of the worksheet, it asks the question, when is the last time that you had what you would consider a win? And anybody who wants to share that answer to that question, I'd really be curious. For me, I would say my last win was the production of this workbook. And prior to this workbook was the Science of Self workbook, the Science of Sex workbook, and then the Science of Self. And all three of these workbooks really kind of reference and are true to life when it comes to where I am right now in my consciousness. So I have a measurable, verifiable, physical entity that I can look at, and I can look back at 10 years from now for 2020 and see the progress that I made in the movement towards the person that I aspire to become with my workbooks, as well as, working with personal clients. I definitely consider that a win, and their wins I consider wins for me as they advance. But for you, when was the last time that you actually had a win, something that you can look back and stand on and be proud of, and talk about, a year from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now? And then being conscientious of that, because, when we talk about confidence and self-esteem, if you're not advancing in your personal life, it's hard to develop momentum in your confidence and in your self-esteem. But as you have those wins, those small successes and whatnot, it helps you to build your self-esteem and your confidence to where you can, small win at the job, you got a promotion or a raise. That's a win, right? And so that helps you to build momentum, to be more valuable in the workplace, or to have the confidence to step out and actually create your own business if that's what you aspire to. So I talked about this particular comment in the last live that I did. I'm reading, one of the books I'm reading right now is Alchemy by Saint Germain. And this quote really stood out to me. It is God's plan that everyone on earth pursue the understanding of himself and his destiny. And this is a question for you, and this is not part of the workbook, but it's just something for you to think about. Am I really, number one, am I pursuing the understanding of myself and my destiny? And then number two, is this even a part of my consciousness where this is a aspiration for me? Why am I here? What is it about me that is unique and individual to the world? What am I here to express and to give? You have as mothers and fathers, we have that aspect of us that we give as parents, as spouses, or if we're in relationships, connecting to other human beings. That's a part of the importance of why we are here. And then even beyond that, you as a sovereign individual being, am I conscientious about understanding myself? The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, the things that I've been through, the experiences that I've had, owning them, right? Finding value in all of those difficult relationships, those difficult experiences, and then standing on them to a point where they start to serve you instead of hindering you. And we had several questions yesterday in the Q&A that allotted to, forgiveness, people who were sabotaging you or who had sabotaging you in the past, and learning how to get over that those people and those experiences are a very important aspect of you understanding yourself and your destiny. So we can't bury the parts of our reality that, we feel like didn't serve us well. Yes, it's important to forgive, but in order to become wise and to grow into the proper understanding of ourselves, we have to use those narratives and those experiences in order to fine-tune how we're looking at our experiences, because there's nothing random in the universe. You're not randomly meeting somebody that you end up in a 2 or 3 year relationship with that drags you through the mud, or that, sabotages you, or that hurts you or harms you. You're not randomly becoming a business partner or, being hired by a certain company. And then all of a sudden, it's a horrible experience for 2 months, and then you quit. Now you're looking for another job. None of this stuff is random. You are vibrating in energy. You have a certain level of consciousness. You aspire to become a certain type of person or have certain life experiences. And so the universe is setting you up with people, places, and things in order to help you become that person that you aspire to be. If you think negatively, destructively, and viciously, these thoughts will generate destructive emotions, which must be expressed and find an outlet. These emotions, being of a negative nature, are frequently expressed as ulcers, heart trouble, tension, and anxiety. This is important because, and we had a question yesterday about the difference between understanding emotion versus thought, right? If you have consistent negative and destructive thoughts, they have to be expressed in your reality. This is a universal law. If you consistently think negatively about other people, you have low expectations for other people, you have low expectations for yourself, you think the world is out to get you, you have, expressed victim consciousness in different aspects of your life, I cannot reiterate this enough. Those emotions and those thoughts must be expressed and find an outlet. They are going to make their way into your life. And, we could go back, it's not necessary, but we could, and I do this with myself. Say, for instance, the question about, what do you do when you feel like the world is out to get you, or people have consistently done you wrong? Well, you can go back and trace those steps, a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 weeks ago, and see where you were mentally and emotionally, and then backpedal or look forward and see how your emotional countenance, your mental countenance, your thought process expressed itself by way of people, places, and things. So the world is not out to get you. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times the people that are in our lives, and you know, their state of consciousness matters as well. But a lot of times the people in our lives, our family members, our children, our friends, our coworkers are reflecting back to us what's happening inside of us, right? So those feelings and those emotions have to find their way to express themselves. I told this story in the workbook about my friend. She might even be listening. Well, I don't think she's listening, but she'll probably watch this later. She's going to be starting a book club with a bunch of her friends using the Change Your Mind workbook. But you know who you are. We were talking one time and she was telling me how, now this is a person that makes good money. She's not struggling financially. She lives in California, so, you know, but she makes good money. She's got a really good career. Every time her mortgage becomes due, when she receives her mortgage statement, she goes through this period of like a week or two of major anxiety, right? Because first 2 weeks you pay the mortgage, money is tight. Next 2 weeks, when that next check hits, that's when, you know, money starts to loosen up a little bit more. You can take care of everything. But leading up to the date of her mortgage being due, and then when the bill comes, she has this whole process of anxiety, right? So we talked about it, you know, in a certain regard, it is what it is, you know. I'm not making more money. I can't start a business right now. So this is just something that I have to deal with. That's one part of it. The second part of it that I talked to her about, and this is what we're going to get into next week, is that your abundance and financial well-being is not only based on how much you work. It's not only based on how much you pound the pavement and how much you grind. And this is what we've been taught through living in this culture, through living in this society, through lack-based consciousness. When we don't have the proper awareness of the spiritual self and the mental self and the power that we have to attract things to us without physical work, we think that it's only about what we actually do. But who you are and the concept of being versus doing, right? You can attract abundance into your life beyond just the physical work that you do every day. And so I told her, you know, you've got to start. The vision board aspect is part of it. You know, writing out your goals and desires is part of it. But like mentally and emotionally, you've got to start to fine tune your thinking to not only the bills are going to get paid, not only things always work out for me, those are important, but what do you really want? I want, you know, to make enough money, whether it's in my business or whatever, in whatever entity, where all of my bills plus will be taken care of. Meaning I have an overflowing of money every month or every year to where I don't have to be struggling financially. Now, you don't have to worry about the who, what, when, where, why, and how, about how this is going to happen. Just start to own that state of consciousness. And we'll get into that next week as we go through the remainder of the workbook in this process. But really starting to be conscientious of the lack versus abundance consciousness. In the book, The Supreme Beings, there's a section where John Randolph talks about every thought that you have, every goal that you have, every desire that you have is being filtered through your state of consciousness. So you can write positive affirmations out, right? I am beautiful. I am strong. I am wealthy. I am wise. But all of those thoughts have to filter through your state of consciousness. So if you say to yourself, or if you put a sticky note up on your mirror that says, I am financially well off, but your state of consciousness is, I just got my cell phone bill in the mail and my rent is due on the 1st. I don't know how I'm going to take care of this. Those affirmations have to be filtered through that state of consciousness. So if you think that you're not going to have enough money to take care of your bills, the universe will move heaven and earth in order to make thy will be done. So once you start to redefine how you look at money, how you look at consciousness, how you look at abundance, you start to give the universe a directive opposed to responding to what's happening in your world. What's the directive? The directive is I am debt free. The directive is I am financially secure. The directive is my monthly income is $5,000. The directive is I have created a side business outside of my job in order to supplement my income, and here's how much it's going to make. First and foremost, the directive. Then we backtrack from there, meditating, using conscious energy, and using positive affirmations and writing out our goals and desires. And then the universe will help to fill in some of those gaps and to help this process come into fruition. The main thing that I have to emphasize to you guys is that we are not doing this alone. Nothing you do alone. Even if you work 12 hours a day, 16 hours a day, or if you work 2 hours a day, or you don't work at all, there is always universal guidance. There is always energy that is surrounding you, that is listening to your thoughts and feeling your energy and feeling your vibration in order to help the things that you aspire to, or the things that you believe to be true. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to have enough money. I'm always going to be struggling. The universe is backing you up 100% in order to help those things come into fruition. I always say it's not fair or unfair. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So whatever you are resonating is what you are going to continue to increase in your reality. So we talked about identifying stress factors, and this is page 14. Get some water here. The self-rating chart highlights all of these areas when it comes to our focal points, right? So this page is just about rating yourself: physical health, the condition of your body; physical health, your dietary habits; emotional stability and clarity; mental clarity and educational goals; and spiritual practices. Rating yourself from mediocre to average to excellent. And when you limit, your rating, you're either in all these areas of your life, right? You're either mediocre or you're average or you're excellent, right? It kind of makes you sit up a little bit straighter, because dietary habits, for instance. If you're mediocre, then you understand the condition of your body, which is connected to the condition of your thoughts, which is connected to the condition of your emotions. If you're average, you're like most people, which means that you are not putting forward additional effort or continuity in your focus as far as how you eat. And if you're excellent, then you're on the right path, right? How many of us really strive to and aspire to be excellent in all areas of our lives? I would say most people probably strive for excellence in 1, 2, maybe 3 areas of their life. But remember, there's 10 areas. There is 10 areas of, your mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical self, right? Business, career, financial status, relationships, 2-part relationships, overall confidence, spiritual practice, mental clarity, emotional stability, etc., right? So imagine if we made it a focus and conscientious effort to be excellent in all of these areas in our lives. And I think naturally we think that's overwhelming. What do you mean be excellent in every area in my life? I barely have enough time now. I barely have enough energy now. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if one by one, if we took a week, especially with this time we have now. All right, this week I'm going to focus on being excellent in my physical health. That's one of my goals. During this whole process, every single day I have to do something physical. I have to be able to look at it and assess myself physically in the next, it's my belief that we're pretty much going to be on lockdown, self-quarantine, whatever, throughout the month of April, until the month of April. And hopefully in May, this situation, clears out and we will be able to go resume our normal lives, beginning of May, mid-May. So, but for me, for the month of April, excellence in my physical health, excellence in my dietary habits is an absolute goal for me. And I've been doing it pretty much all of March, right? So imagine if over the course of these next 6 weeks, all of us take one aspect of ourselves and focus on being excellent at. And I'm going to challenge you guys to that. If you stay with us, throughout next week, beautiful. If this is the last class that you actually attend, can you make this a focus of yours, not just throughout this process we're in now, but for the remainder of the year, to focus on being excellent in these different areas of your life. And of course, there's a couple of other worksheets that, that go with this, identifying stress factors. You guys will be able to work through that as you continue working through the workbook. And I just gave an assignment, write a letter to yourself, reframing the narrative of how you see yourself in these areas, the areas that you've acknowledged mediocrity, right? So I know that, self-doubt, fear, money, and all that stuff is an issue. So financially, for example, reframing the narrative and writing a letter to yourself about how you see yourself financially. And I gave the example, if you're in mediocre social relationships, your letter will confirm for you that you are thankful to have attractive relationships that are vibrant, fun, and fulfilling. If you are mediocre in emotional stability, your letter will confirm that you give thanks for emotional clarity that has come to you as a result of your trials and tribulations. You are focused on positive energy, gratitude, appreciation, joy, and contentment of heart, right? So let's use the financial aspect as an example, because most people in the group, that was the biggest thing that people were struggling with, right? So let's say you write a letter to yourself. You're in a space right now where you're worried about money, you're worried about finances. So your letter to yourself is going to be, and I'll just give an example of, let's say me, for instance. I'm so proud of you, Zaza, for being able to maintain a consistent state of mind when it comes to finances. We've done so well over the course of the last 6 months with the workbooks that I know I've done so well. I'm thinking in third person. I've done so well, and I'm so proud of the workbooks that I have given to the world and the energy that I have given to the world in order to help the collective consciousness rise and to move from a space of lack into abundance. The workbooks have done so well that we've become financially secure. I've become financially secure to where now, I'm making the moves that I want to make, taking the trips that I want to take, doing the things that I want to do to be secure financially. That type of letter and conversation to yourself. If you have a business that you want to start, the business is off the ground and is thriving now. I'm so happy that I decided to make this decision, because now I'm networking and making moves, and people are ordering, or people are, hiring me for their services, or for the services I provide. Write a letter to yourself and speak in positive language in order to, and tell yourself and tell your subconscious mind that you are financially abundant, and this is how it is taking place and it's going to take place. How are we on time? 1:23. All right. The make peace with yourself aspect of the workbook is one of the most powerful to me. I say most powerful, they're all powerful to me, but I think this particular subject, especially with, what you guys have told me so far about your personal lives and the things that you've been dealing with, fear, doubt, and worry and whatnot, this section of the workbook is important because the bottom line, the goal is to make peace with yourself. The bottom line is peace is the priority, and how we feel has to be our number one priority when it comes to how we're moving about in our realities. So energy leaks, I call them punctures, right? Ongoing energetic puncture. And I talked about this briefly in some of my videos before, but you guys will get the full throttle of it when you work through the workbook. An ongoing energetic puncture, usually attached to personal relationships, traumatic experiences, negative thinking, and emotional patterns that drain the life force energy. We had several questions yesterday in the Q&A section that are particular to this. These energy leaks weigh heavy in the background of everyday life and are hard to pinpoint as the reason for being tired, angry, frustrated. Depending on the specific issue, energy leaks can drain the equivalent energy of an 8-hour work shift expressed through emotional energy opposed to physical labor. This is important because we're not even talking about the job that you have, or the business that you run, or, you know, cooking breakfast and cooking dinner, working out, none of the physical stuff, taking the children back and forth to school, taking the children to basketball, cheerleader practice, none of the physical stuff. We're talking about the stuff that is happening internally within your mind and your emotional being, right? So you've got these negative thinking patterns, which I know you got a lot of you guys are dealing with. You got resentment of past relationships, you know, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, you know, self-doubt, or not self-doubt, shame and guilt because, you know, you allowed this person to do this to you, or you made this mistake in a relationship, or whatever. Living with grief from past mistakes, the need for approval from other people, overthinking petty events and turning them into personal attacks. How many times, oh my goodness, I've had people that actually took things that I've said, you know, generalizing about society, and, you know, people getting upset with me because they felt like I was attacking them personally, but I don't even know you, you know. And because we have access to social media now, and even, you know, watching commercials, watching certain things in television shows or movies where it triggers something in you, and now you're feeling bad about yourself, or this emotional trigger has come up and you don't even really understand why. Well, you're watching a movie about domestic violence and you were in a domestic violence situation. So naturally you're going to be triggered because you have not worked through the process of healing, or seeing that the benefit in that relationship and the value that it brought to your life, so that, you know, now you're not triggered when you see people experiencing things that you've been through in your past. Envy and jealousy of successful people, worry and fear about the future. And again, that worry and fear about the future, part of that is because we are not spending any time, any focus, any energy and attention on a day-to-day basis constructing the type of life that we aspire to, constructing the type of reality that we want. We spend most of our time and energy focused on the life that we're in, or responding to, or being in a defensive mindset to the world that we're in right now, instead of consciously creating our reality. Inability to control negative emotions, emotional eating, which is a big thing, and then reliving and living in pain from our childhood without seeking help. Now, I'm not one of those people. I don't think it's necessary to always necessary, and this is a case by case scenario, obviously, when we deal with childhood trauma, you know, abusive situations, family issues and whatnot. Sometimes therapy is good, counseling is good, working with professionals in order to help us comb through those situations is good. When I work with clients, I'm not one of those people that believes in you got to go back and backtrack and peel back all of the layers to get through the exact problem, to go to the root of the problem. Sometimes that's necessary. My emphasis is more so on right now, present moment, being conscientious of how you think you're thinking and you're feeling, and starting to construct the life that you actually want. Because a lot of times the past is blaring in our minds and in our consciousness because we don't have anything to look forward to. We don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. We don't have, you know, things that are inspiring us and making us feel good and vibrant about our lives. So naturally, the thing that happened to you 10 years ago, or, you know, the boyfriend that hurt you and dragged you through hell, you know, a couple of years back, is going to play a more prominent role when there's no light at the end of the tunnel, or there's no, you know, no really good things to look forward to. So this story, make sure you guys read this. It starts on page 19. It's getting warm in here. I'm gonna have to turn my AC on when I get off with you guys. And I put this sweater on because I had the AC on earlier, and I didn't want to be too cold. I didn't want to be too warm. So then I turned it off. Anyway, there's a quote in here by Dr. Joseph Murphy from the book, Miracle Power for Infinite Riches, right? Where he talks about this gentleman that he met who had actually attracted a very substantial condition of asthma. And he thought that he just had asthma because it was hereditary in his family. Well, it turns out that he attracted asthma because of a very traumatic and painful event that happened to him with his adopted father. So he didn't have asthma because it was genetic. He had asthma because his adoptive father had asthma and died of asthma. But there was a traumatic experience that he had with him that kind of broke him emotionally. And he never really was able to bounce back from that. And I use this particular story in the workbook because if we really stop and think about some of the things that happen in our lives, some of us, are dealing with extreme health abnormalities like cancer or serious diseases, right? We have this situation right now with coronavirus. And I cannot emphasize this enough. If we are operating from a place of fear when it comes to what's happening now with this virus and this global pandemic, we are making ourselves more susceptible to becoming sick, because the emotional and mental countenance that you have is sending signals and placing a demand on your cellular structure. Your cellular structure, like the universe, is taking commands based on how you're thinking and you're feeling. So if you're like, oh my God, I'm worried, I don't have a testing kit, or I have the symptoms that they're saying, or, my neighbor's neighbor, was coughing yesterday and I don't know if it got on me, or, I touched something in Target that might have, I'm saying? Like all of the stuff that we're thinking about from a fear-based consciousness are sending signals to our cellular body. Right? So this story that Dr. Joseph Murphy provides is just another reiteration of this fact. If you have things that are stuck, energetic leaks for one, or things that are stuck in your mental and emotional countenance, they will manifest themselves in your physical body. So in the same way we talked about before, those emotions and those feelings have to find a way to express themselves in the physical realm, and they do based on the people that you attract, the experiences that you have. It also affects your physical countenance and the things that actually happen in your body physically. And that can be high blood pressure, that can be heart disease, that can be diabetes, that can be cancer, that can be coronavirus, that can be fibroids, that can be tumors, that can be asthma, that can be anxiety. It's a trip how people say stress kills, right? When you have anxiety, and I've had anxiety before, when the back in 2000, and I think it was like 2008, when I was in the mortgage industry and the industry collapsed literally overnight, and all of my deals were falling apart and all of my clients were losing their minds, and all of the brokers and all of the real estate agents, everybody, just the whole system flattened out immediately, right? I started having major panic attacks, anxiety, and I was literally feeling like I was going to have a heart attack. So the stress, the emotional and the mental stress that I was experiencing at that time was physically affecting my body. And it's the same thing with, again, tumors, fibroids, having certain rashes, right? Breakouts, face breakouts. Your body responds to the way that you are feeling and thinking. All right, let's see. I'm going to do this slide because this is important, and then this slide, and then we'll close with this. And we'll start on the what do you want section. Next week is all about next week is about abundance, but we have to talk about the master teacher. We have to do master teacher on Monday. No, we have to do 4 rooms too. Okay, Monday and Tuesday we'll do 4 rooms. Dominant vibration. I'm gonna have to think about this. Where we're gonna start on Monday, because we haven't really closed out the lack section, and I don't know how much of this you guys are gonna get done over the weekend. Okay, let me stay on track. So this is important. This is on page 21. Let me take some water. You guys know I'm not eating right now, so I won't eat until this evening. So my energy is a little low. I haven't had a smoothie today. Life force energy, or prana. I actually have a slide that goes with this. Well, no, let me stay here. We have 12 questions in the Q&A. All right. Life force energy, or prana, supplies energy directly to the brain. This cosmic energy comes from outside the body, enters the brain, and keeps the cells charged with life. Life force is the intelligent power that converts food, matter, oxygen, and sunshine into living matter. This life energy is the real sustainer of life. For when the mind, body, and soul are depleted, they can only be recharged by this cosmic life force energy, which is sustained by good posture, see me sitting up tall, to alleviate an unobstructed flow of life energy in the spine, consuming natural foods such as raw fruits and vegetables to strengthen the body, getting proper sunlight for its healing energy, and proper breathing exercises to purify the blood. Now, we are talking about the building blocks of life right now. And I put this in this section of the workbook because it started off talking about energetic leaks. Well, this is the counter to balancing out those energetic leaks. Nothing mentioned here is about money. Nothing mentioned here is about influence or about who you are or what you have. We're talking about the way you breathe. We're talking about your posture. We're talking about eating raw fruits and vegetables. And we're talking about sunlight and proper breathing exercises, right? So I put up the rhythmic breathing video. The first part of that video is purely about how you breathe. I also always recommend the Science of Breath book by Yogi Ramacharaka. Regardless to what the condition of how you eat right now is, I highly recommend adding raw fruits and vegetables to your daily eating regimen. Maybe you can, just purely eat a salad for lunch, or make it a focal point to eat a smoothie every day. Obviously, chlorophyll, which I always talk about, adding that to your water is adding a raw supplement to your diet, and chlorophyll is extremely healthy. It's like a natural deodorizer, so to speak. Sunlight is extremely important. And the breathing process cleans your blood system and purifies your blood. All of these things will help you with your increasing your energy, and also taking your mind off of being in a lack-based consciousness into a mindset of abundance. So page 25, where are we at on time? Okay, wait, does that say 4:37? Oh, 1:37. Okay, yeah, we're gonna end at 2 o'clock, you guys. So the last page will end, and I'll end with the presentation here. On page 25, I give you a full-fledged overlay of what to do to overcome anxiety and to pull yourself out of negative thinking patterns. So for everybody who checked off that they are dealing with fear and self-doubt, even the money issue, the questions yesterday that were rooted in lack-based consciousness, worrying about other people sabotaging you, problems with forgiving other people. Page 25, I give you a line by line, not status, the word I want. I give you a line by line breakdown of what to do in order to help you to pull yourself out of anxiety, self-doubt, fear, worry, etc. Read and practice breathing techniques from the Science of Breath by Yogi Ramacharaka. I give my clients a free copy of this book. You can also order it online. It's a very small book. It's like 10 bucks. Every night before bed, do a 15-minute stretching routine that includes concentration on breath. Listen to meditation music or meditation affirmations while falling asleep to reprogram the subconscious mind. Every morning before getting out of bed, as soon as you wake up, sit in a comfortable position, turn on meditation music to a low pitch, and focus on breathing and being present for 15 minutes. Take 2 to 3 walks per week in nature, get some sunshine. Add chlorophyll to your daily water intake. It will give you energy and refresh your body. Create a playlist of YouTube videos or audio books for frequent listening to keep your mind and energy focused. Always, always have one book that you are reading that is focused on your points of interest and or aspirations. And we'll get to that next week when we start to define what you are, interested in. My interest is studying the universe, studying the science of self, frequency, energy, consciousness. So I always have something that supplements those particular topics. If your interest is hair, you should have magazine subscriptions that show you different hairstyles and new techniques and new products that are available to the hair industry. If your interest is carpentry, you should have books, or you should be taking a class, or you should be fine-tuning magazines that are focused on the construction industry, architecture. If your interest is, if you're a nurse, then you should be, outside of your work, you should also be, subscribing to holistic magazines that give you information that you're not necessarily going to get in the medical industry, of how to help people with diabetes from a holistic perspective, how to help people with, when I have friends that have physical ailments, I start researching the things that they're dealing with so I can find the counter response to what the medical industry is telling him or her to do. If you are an artist or a poet or a musician, you should be doing things that supplement whatever that particular interest is, to keep you create your creative focus and to keep you interested in whatever that particular industry is. Whenever you feel pain, suffering, or your mind is getting the best of you, practice the following breathing technique from the book, The Science of Breath, to calm the nervous system and to keep you centered. And I list that in the workbook. And then I also I've put up for you guys the rhythmic breathing video, so you can use that as a reference and a guide as well. All right. So I finally got a full presentation in. Well, we did, I think, the first day or two, but we'll stop there, and then next week we'll get into what do you want, and also some other things. For homework this weekend, and this is only going to probably be for, I think 22% of you guys are all caught up. For everybody else, let's catch up to page 25 from 1 through 25. And then for those of you guys that are already caught up, or if you have extra time this weekend, let's do the forgiveness section of the workbook. If you're not struggling with forgiveness, then this is not really going to be a point of emphasis for you. But if you have people in your family that have wronged you, or you're still struggling from a past relationship, or you're dealing with guilt and shame for yourself, then I really recommend that you take time to work through this particular section. It's page 28 through 34. And then page 35 through 36 is the internal purge. This is the second part of the self-rating chart. Wait, no, it's not. I'm sorry. The forgiveness section is 28 through 36. So the internal purge is a part of the forgiveness section. So let's do that. If you're already caught up, let's do page 28 through 36. If forgiveness is something that you need to work on. And if you can, unfinished business, let's everybody work on getting up to page 40 in the workbook. Let's do that. That's my challenge for you guys. If you're caught up, then you're going to work on page 28 through 40 this weekend. And if you're not caught up, then you're going to try to get caught up. But the goal by Monday is to be up to page 40, which is the unfinished business section of the workbook. And remember, guys, this workbook is 134 pages. So we're only going to probably get through, hopefully we'll get to 60 pages, 65 pages next week. But we're not even going to be able to cover the entire workbook. But let's try to get up to page 40 this weekend. And with that being said, I'm going to get to our Q&A so we can try to answer as many of those, as many of your questions as we can. There's 16 questions in the Q&A. Let's see what we can cover in the rest of the time that we have available. And, usually some of the questions are, usually you guys are asking the same question in different ways. So hopefully we'll be able to get to everything. Let me close this out. And let me bring you back. And just a reminder, guys, today's the last day to get the sale price on the ebook. So if you haven't gotten it already, You should get it today. Otherwise, you are going to, it'll be available on my site for the full price. All right, let me take some water here. Okay, answered that. Answered that. I sent an email to the other email address, Zaza Ali 007. Please give the other one thanks. Let me know well, I'm assuming you sent an email, so I'll look out for the email. Okay, what are your thoughts on using the various digital methods of blocking someone out of your life? I've been going back and forth with this, trying to end a toxic relationship. I'm interested in your insight to gain more clarity on my journey. Block away. If it's toxic and it's something that is not serving you well, use those. This is the first step towards ending the relationship in totality. It's a first step towards healing. I would definitely say cut off all online communication if this is really someone that you want to alleviate being in your life, because you'll get triggered by everything that they do. They can post a loving, beautiful picture about how wonderful life is, and then you'll start thinking about, oh, your life is so wonderful, will you mess mine up? Or they can post something really toxic and damaging, and then obviously it's toxic and damaging, so it's going to affect you that way. And then they can post, a picture with another person, maybe another female, another male, or in another relationship, or post themselves out, yachting across the Pacific Ocean. Like, if this person is toxic and this is something that you want to alleviate from your life, then nothing that they do is really going to serve you well. And that's one stage. The next stage beyond that is, once you've completely 100% healed from the relationship, there won't be a need to block, because it won't matter. What they do won't matter. But while what they do still matters, I say block all. You shouldn't be watching what that person is doing or invested in what's happening in their life in order, until you get to a point where it doesn't matter anymore. I was just beginning momentum just before the pandemic. Well, let the pandemic reestablish and reinvigorate your momentum, and make that your conscientious focus. Whenever the pandemic comes up, whenever the topic of it comes up, whenever it's on the news, you see something on social media, a bill comes in that you're worried about, or whatever, anything that exasperates any sort of fear or making you question yourself, remind yourself, take a couple of deep breaths and remind yourself, this is happening and has happened in order to help me to expedite or to increase the momentum of the goals and aspirations that I have. No question. Just thank you so much for this. You are truly a queen. Peace and love. Mwah. Much love. Thank you. I appreciate you. Can you elaborate on the appearance of fibroids? So fibroids they can come from multiple things, right? There's been testing done that has shown that in Black women, that long-term use of perms are connected to fibroids. If you have a diet that is heavily, that has a lot of dairy in it, or heavy meat intake, that can also be connected to fibroids. Stress is connected to fibroids. Lack of water intake, like the way that you eat and the things that you put in your body is connected to fibroids. Tampons and certain types of maxi pads or pads are connected to fibroids. One thing that I will recommend, and there's all kind of information out as far as holistically addressing fibroids. Bentonite clay, and there's a book called Living Clay. It's actually right here. I recommend this so much that I keep it close. Living Clay Co. There's an updated version of this on Amazon. It's red now. It's by Perry A. It gives you a regimen in order to do a detox, in order to naturally relieve yourself of fibroids, as well as all kinds of rashes, eczema, cancer, psoriasis, radiation, ringworms, premenstrual syndromes, poison ivy, pregnancy, mumps, migraine headaches, hemorrhoids, everything, right? There's a full body detox in here, as well as a regimen including baths, where you take bentonite clay. I only recommend living clay bentonite clay, and it basically will shrink the fibroids and the tumors in your body, but you have to follow the regimen. It's not an overnight thing. It's not like taking a pill or having surgery. This is shifting the way that your way of life, and also cutting high levels of dairy and meat out of your regimen will definitely help with that process. Dear Zaza, how do we deal with family and friends who keep repeating their fear-based thoughts around this pandemic situation? You gotta find something neutral to say. Because remember, you're having a conversation with them, but then you're having a conversation with yourself. The conversation you're having with yourself is the most important conversation. So when the language and the conversation is based in fear, I take a couple breaths, right? Because this is the thing about me. I can have the conspiracy theory conversation and like go full throttle. You know what I'm saying about like what's happening in the situation. It scared the shit out of everybody around me, which obviously I'm not going to do, which is why I haven't really been, taking to social media and coming at it from that perspective. I know in the bigger scheme of things, all things work for the greater good. I know that there is a spiritual lesson that is happening. The earth is resetting itself. People are, focusing on bonding with their families. People are focusing on how they're eating right now. People are more interested in health consciousness now, how to, build up their immune system. You know what I mean? People are forced to be home now, so now they're having a chance to work on businesses or refurbish opportunities that they could have, thinking about starting businesses, going back to school, taking online classes. You guys are, we've had 50 or 60 people every day all of this week, plus another 100 people watching the archives of these videos. You know what I'm saying? So people are taking advantage of this time. People are starting to be more spiritually conscious and aware. So you can talk about it from that perspective. Or you can say something, neutral, like, I have a feeling this is going to work out. All things work for the greater good. So it just depends on which family member and friend that you're talking to, how open and receptive they are, on which way you want to play it. But there are a lot of positive things that are coming to the surface now, behind the scenes, not outside of, CNN. Oh, New York just had, 200 people die yesterday. That is, sorry guys, I think my camera was a little bit blurry. Okay. There's the positive things that are happening. If you have family members and friends that are, embracive of that, then talk about it from that perspective. And if you're dealing with somebody that's just like super, super fear-based consciousness, be very limited in how much time and attention you give them, and just say something very neutral and basic, like, all things work for the greater good. God is behind the scenes, or, the creator, or whatever the language is you want to use, behind the scenes, this is going to turn out to work well for humanity. But remember, the most important conversation that you are having is the conversation that you're having with yourself. So, limit the conversations that affect the conversation that you're having with yourself. And you have to learn how to, learn, your temperament, know their temperament, in order to be able to make those decisions. I've always believed if you act sick, you will be sick. But my spouse has been saying things that made me anxious about this pandemic. I was doing fine, yet my energy, my spouse's being careless has made me overly anxious. Well, that goes back to what I just said to the other person, and I would also recommend, I just talked about bentonite clay. I would recommend everybody, especially if it's playing in your mind about, what's happening right now, purchase some living clay called bentonite clay and do a clay detox. And you can, welcome your husband to do that with you as well, so that you guys are being proactive in order to build the immune system. This is all about your immune system. This is not about global pandemic world. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yes, we have to be mindful and conscientious of it, but bottom line, how's your immune system? And I'd ask your husband that. How's your immune system? You know what I'm saying? Because now we take the focus and the directive off of what's happening in the world and place it squarely on you. That's what this is all about. How is your immune system? How's your vitamin C intake? How much sun are you getting? How much water do you drink? How many natural living foods are you taking? What type of herbal supplements do you take? Once you redirect the energy and the conversation back to you, back to your husband, what does the world have to do with that? We are sovereign individual beings that have to learn how to govern our physical bodies, our mental bodies, our spiritual bodies, and our emotional bodies. And that's, in the bigger scheme of things, is what is happening right now, is that the universe is forcing all of us to become self-sufficient when it comes to self-governance. And feel free to replay this clip for your husband so that he can hear, a different perspective when it comes to what we are all kind of witnessing and dealing with right now. I purchased the chlorophyll, but I purchased the capsule. Should I have gotten the liquid? I already started taking it. Same thing. Either way, it's going to be beneficial for you. So same thing. I purchased the ebook. I want to purchase the hard copy as well. Do you have a coupon code? Email me. I have a code for 10% off. If you email me at info@zazaali.com and ask me for the code, I'll send it to you. I don't remember it off the top of my head. Who is the Plague Book by? Perry A. And there's an updated version. So your version won't look like mine. It's a red book. But it's still the same author. They just kind of, updated it a little bit. Perry A, and it's on Amazon. So I just ordered a gallon of bentonite clay, but I use a lot because I take baths in it. I take like 2 baths a week. So I use a lot of bentonite clay. So I order it by the gallon. A gallon is like $77 on Amazon. And, if you want to get it shipped faster now, you're going to pay a little bit more. But if you have Amazon Prime, you should be fine. Do you Cash App? Yes, I do. I put that in the chat room already. It's $ Zaza, capital Z, small a, capital Z, small a, capital A, small L-I, Zaza Ali. Do you speak to your vision board daily? I don't speak to it, but I have a vision for everything on my vision board. So there's 2 trips on my vision board, right? So I have a trip that I go to. I have like scenes, 2 to 3 minute scenes for everything that's on my vision board. And so when I'm not, when time is not a factor and, it's not busyness in my house, and I'm sitting with myself quiet, I will go through every single, thing that I am going to manifest on my vision board. And I have a short scene that I go to for every single thing that's on my vision board. I like your hair today. The bun distracts me. Why does my bun distract you? See this big old fluffy ponytail back here like Roger Rabbit? But haha, that's cute. How much are the other lesson books? I'm assuming you mean all of my workbooks. Go to my shop@zazaali.com because there's another question in here. Oh, your question. The physical copy of Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance is $34.95. The physical copy of The Science of Self is $25.95. The ebook copy is, I think, $15.95. The physical copy of The Science of Sex is $19.95, and the ebook is $12.95. They're all on my site, so you can get all of them there. All right. So I got all the questions out the way, finally. Thank you very much. And we are on time. I said I was going to do an hour and a half today. It's 2 o'clock, so I'm very pleased with myself. I know I'm not going to be able to talk much longer before my my energy fully diminishes. So I'm going to make a smoothie, and then I'm going to go outside and get some sunshine and try to get in a workout. I might go live for a little while, for a few minutes later on today, just kind of check in with the people to see how everybody's doing. But remember, we're all going to try to get up to page, is it 40? Page 40 in the workbook this weekend. Did I say 40? Yeah, I said 40, right? Yeah, page 40, up to unfinished business. Do as much as you can. Send me any feedback, any questions via email, info@zazali.com. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Don't watch too much news. Go outside, walk, stretch, get some sunshine, get some air, and start to think. The majority of your thoughts should be about the life that you want. The majority of your thoughts right now should be about the business you want, the type of job you want, the type of relationship you want, the way you want to feel in your on a day-to-day basis, like what the things that you want into your reality, to come into your reality. That's what this book is all about. So I challenge you guys over the weekend, really monitor how you're thinking, and anytime a negative thought comes into your mind, create a counter thought that will help you to dwindle out the energy from that thought process. So if the negative thought is, oh my God, I might potentially be in the house for another month, right? Because that is a realistic scenario. You know, I might be in the house for another month. I can't work. I'm not making any money. You know, how bad is this situation going to get? You know, come up with a narrative that you can say to yourself and talk to yourself to pull you out of that type of energy. So, man, I've been complaining about time for the last 5 years. I finally have time right now where I can actually do things that I haven't had a chance to do. So we have the benefit of time on our side right now. All of our homes should be clean, should reflect cleanliness, should reflect clarity. If you don't have mental clarity, look around your house. Is your house clear? Does your house reflect clarity? Closets, you know, office spaces, all those bills that have piled up that you look at that make you feel stressed out, throw that shit away. You only need one copy of the bill, and you probably don't even need that because they're going to send you another copy next week. Rip them up, throw them away. You know what I'm saying? Clean up, go outside, get some sunshine, and just really monitor your thinking process as you work on the workbook, and send me your feedback. Let me know how you guys are thinking and feeling. And I will see you guys sometime online, sometime this weekend. I'm going to do a live to check in with everybody and see how everybody is doing. All right. Monday, we'll be back 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I will email you guys the link for yesterday's class as well as the link for today's class. I won't send you any extra worksheets because you guys got to catch up on where we are now. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys soon. Peace and love.